Everyone, and welcome to today's session of Adobe Apps for Education. Our presenter today is Sara Martin, who is from Hart Ransom College in California. And Sara is going to be presenting today all about Premiere Elements and how you can create your first movie, a very simple movie, with using this tool. So Sara, are you there?
I am here.
Excellent.
It is great to be with all of you today. Can you hear? I have my speakers on slightly. Is that bothering anyone?
No, I don't have any feedback my end. I just as Sara shares her screen there, I'd like to say there's questions pod down in the bottom left. So if you have any questions for Sara, please pop them in there during the session and we'll answer them as we go along or at the end of the session. And this is of course being recorded and you will be able to access the recording in two spaces. And I'm just going to pop those into the links as we go along. So over to you, Sara.
Good morning, everyone. I'm excited this morning because there's actually clouds in the sky and there's rain in other parts of the area. We haven't gotten it here yet, but I don't know if you're aware, but California has been in extreme drought. So whenever the clouds come, we're all so grateful. It's nice to have a little bit of fall weather. I did want to correct my location. I'm at Hart Ransom Elementary School District. I don't teach at a college level. I teach little kids. I teach K through 8. Spend quite a bit of time in middle school, the grades 6, 7, 8, and those classes are the ones that I concentrate on the Elements programs with. I teach both Premiere Elements and Photoshop Elements to middle school. I find that those are very, very appropriate for that grade level. It's still difficult for them to learn, but it's a good stepping stone into the higher level professional versions. So I always whenever I take them through Premiere Elements, which is what I'm going to take you through today, I always take them through the more professional route, which is using the timeline, which is what you see here at the bottom of the screen. I already opened up the program and then I clicked on New Project. And it's on the, not the organizer side, but the edit side. I went through that quickly because sometimes it takes a little while for this program to load because it's kind of a bigger program. Also, what might happen during the course of the morning is we may crash. I always tell the kids that when you're working with video, that does happen occasionally, so I'll keep my fingers and toes crossed that that doesn't happen. Also, I wanted to let you know that I am live in my classroom and in about 15 minutes, or maybe a little bit closer to maybe 10 minutes, we're going to hear a whole bunch of announcements and there's nothing I can do about that. So that's coming from our school office and I'll just try to talk louder during that period of time and hopefully it won't be too distracting, but I just wanted to tell you that now. Hopefully we won't have any fire drills or anything like that. Anyway, it's good to be here. I'm just going to kind of go through the way that I go through this program with students. And step by step, the beginning this morning is very basic, just getting a movie going. And then this afternoon, we'll go through more special effects and all of some more exciting things than what you'll see this morning. But we do need to go through the basics. So I hope some of you have applied for the Connect Ed grant. These are the two, one of the two software programs that comes along with that Connect Ed grant, that federal grant that Obama has been pushing. And it's a great way to get free software into the classroom. I think you get 30 copies of both Premiere Elements and Photoshop Elements with that grant. So there's been a little bit more excitement around these programs, which I like because I think sometimes these programs are a little bit overlooked. And the educational value of them, I think, has been a bit overlooked. So since I'm such a proponent of that, I'm glad to see that Connect Ed has added these to that program. Okay, enough of that. Let's get started. All right, so what we do when we begin is we need to add media. Oh, and by the way, this is version 12. And if I stumble just a bit, it's because I teach with version 10. So version 10 is slightly different than 12. And version 13 has also just come out. So for the Connect Ed, I think you'll probably get either version 12 or 13, and I don't think there's much difference between the two. Quite frankly, I haven't seen 13 yet. They upgrade this software every year, but I didn't see much difference between 11 and 12, so I'm assuming that 12 and 13 are similar as well. And like I said, because I use more of the professional side of it, I don't do as many of the quick and dirty kind of tools that are in these programs. I don't think it'll be that different. Okay, now I'm really going to start. So you do need to get your media into the program. So the first step is to add the media. And you can see over here on the left side, there's several ways that you can add media. You can use the Elements organizer. I do not use that in the network setting. I've never been able to use the organizer and have it work properly with multiple students logging onto the same computer all day long. So I have always skipped over the organizer, but if you're using it on a computer that it's just for one person, it works great. I have not worked with this Revel, but we are going to go and get our files today from Files and Folders. You can see that you can actually connect devices as well directly into the program, and you can download or you can get the files into your program this way too. But today I'm going to go to Files and Folders, and I've saved just a few little things here to work with. I got some permission from Peyton. I'll use these green screen ones later today, and that's a music file. I'm going to go ahead and open these up into the program. Now, as you're working, of course, you could always go back and get more media if you need to. I usually start teaching students how to make a movie with still pictures, and I teach them all the basics with the still pictures. But today we'll go right into some small, short little video clips mostly. So we've got our media here in the project assets panel right here. And these can be viewed different ways. I'm viewing them here as the icon view, but you can view them as a list. You can also organize them. You can make folders, and if you have like a large project and you need to put certain things in certain folders, you can organize that way. So the timeline is down here. Like I said before, I'm in the timeline view and not the scene line. Because I think it's better for students to learn the timeline. One of the things I think that's good about students learning timeline and learning layers in Photoshop is I think that it helps students to kind of conceptualize what it means to code. So I continue to strive to teach these harder programs to younger kids, and it's quite frankly, it's getting harder and harder because they want to use the quick and dirty apps to do the fast little things. And in the last couple of years, I've actually had a little bit of pushback from junior high kids about learning Photoshop and video editing, and it's been a little bit disturbing because they just don't want to work that hard. But I really want the kids to be able to learn the layers because I think it leads right into the kind of thinking skills that you need for coding. So I'm going to go right into bringing some of these things down. So when I bring these clips down into the timeline, I'm going to start with this one here. They snap right to the beginning, as you see right there. And you can see that we've got both a video and an audio section. And I'm going to go ahead and open this up just a little bit so you can see it in a bigger view. I'm going to click over here a couple of times. And what we see here is we see the clip, and this is the CTI, and I can move it this way. I'm going to bring a couple more into it. You can bring them all in at once, or you can bring them in one by one. This is similar to other video editing tools. I'll just bring a few down so that we can practice. So we've got the timeline, we've got the video and the audio showing, and in a video such as this, it's not necessary for the audio to be played because it's just background noise. So if you want to remove the audio from a clip, you simply right-click and then you go to delete audio or video. So I'm going to delete the audio on each one of these. I could select them all. In fact, I'll do that so that it's faster, and you can delete the audio that way. So that now we just have the plain video here, and we're going to talk about what we can do to make this into a more exciting movie. First of all, we can add transitions. So I'm going to click here, and there's several different transitions. I'm going to go into 3D motion and go up here to the top and go to show all. So each one of these transitions has a little preview that you can look at. There's some more exciting ones down in here. First lesson, I always let the kids do as many crazy transitions as they want. So you take your transition and just lay it in between. So this is not different than any other video editing things I've used before, but you can place them either the left, between, or to the right on most of them. Not all of them allow you to do this, but most of them do. And you can change the duration if you want to. You click done and they can test it. And I usually let the kids, you know, kind of go crazy with their first transitions and their first project, put as many transitions in as they want and go nuts. Of course, transitions can be distracting, so that you don't want them to use crazy transitions every single project, but that's the way they work. So those are transitions, and then let's talk a little bit about titles. Titling and credits are in this title. I got to move this. I'm going to have a little trouble here because I can't see everything. There's a little connect bar here, but I think I can get to everything I need. I'm going to go into show all again. See if I can get the one that I wanted to use here. It doesn't always show up. That is weird. Let me go back to general. Okay, there was one I wanted to use that I'm not seeing, but that's okay. I can use a different one. Just looking at these right here, for example, you've got lower thirds, you've got credits, and then you've got solid title slides like this one. This one has no black. It has it on the sides, but it has no black area here. These black areas are transparent. So if I, for example, if I was to take this lower third here and drop it on top on the video 2 layer, you can see how, let me trill this up a little bit here. You can see how that black area is actually transparent. So we can see Peyton's face through there. So that's how those lower thirds work. So let me go back to the titles. If you have a solid title like this, you would put this at the beginning. And then, of course, you would edit it. So to edit these, you just, let me get rid of this here. You double click until you've got your editing tools, which show up over here on the right. And you can just call it whatever. And, of course, you can subtitle. You can also, the thing that gets a little tricky about this is you have to go back to the Move tool and then double click in order to get back into where you want. Of course, spelling your name right is always good. So that's the way these work. They go right in line. But if you want to have a title slide that has a picture underneath it, you would pick one of these others. Similar to the lower third, this one could be your title slide. You can put the movie title, and then you've got your actual a picture showing underneath it. Now these can be adjusted, so if you wanted this to go through the entire clip, you could adjust it here, and then you could play it and see how you like it. I hope this is making sense. Okay, so these can be adjusted. Okay, and then at the end, if you want to put credits, the credits are already, oh, by the way, that what just popped up is a saving, an auto save. And those can be adjusted in the preferences. So if I wanted to go and have it auto-save a little bit more often, because we all know that with video, you often can crash, which I mentioned earlier, you can go into your edit preferences and go into general. And where it says auto-save, right now it's saving every 20 minutes. And that to me is not enough. So I ask the kids to change this to 5. That way you're doing an auto-save without having to stop and do it on your own. Okay, now back to credits. Here's a credit that is a rolling credit. The animation is already built into it. So I'm going to put it here and show you that this is a rolling credit. If I play it, you'll see that it's rolling. And it's, again, it's black. So we could put this above, and that way it would roll the credits above her walking this way. And again, to edit it, you have to make sure that you select the actual clip. This is a little hard to see, but when the clips are brighter, they're selected. So this one's selected here now, this one's selected. If I want this one selected, it gets a little bit brighter. I have to select it before I can do the editing. And then I just do the double click again. Sometimes you have to fight the software just a little bit in order to get it to work. But you can change this and do all the editing that way. Okay, now what we need to do, let's see, so that's the basic movie. I also wanted to show you about how to add just basic text. And that would be just like a label or just any kind of even it could be a paragraph or anything, but it's different than the titles that I showed you before. So I'm going to go into Tools. Oh, nope, I'm going into Text. Text and then New Text. Here I can add just default text. I can actually add a roll or a crawl. So I'm going to go ahead just with default text. And you'll see that when I do that, a text slide appeared in the video to track. And it occurred there because that is where the indicator is. So wherever you have the indicator, that's where it will naturally go. However, these can be moved. They can be moved easily. And because it's static, it can also be made bigger. If I just drag my cursor right on the edge of that and pull it out, I can add time to that. Okay, so it's a little bit longer, so you're going to line it up the way you want it to be. So again, we want to select it, and then we want to double click and double click again so that we have the editing tools, and we can do any kind of editing to that as I want. So this is Peyton. And there's several different styles and things that you can use. See if these styles work today. There we go. I'm going back to text. And sorry that now you're hearing the announcements, and I hope that it's not too distracting. It's distracting me, but I hope it doesn't distract you. Let's look at the size here. If I click my mouse and hold my left mouse down right here and slide my mouse on my desk, I can use that auto resize that is on a lot of the Adobe products now. Very cool. I really like that. And then here's your move tool. So I can move this down into the corner, and now I have a label. So this is just the regular text tool. That's different than the titles and text. All right. So what I wanted to do now is go through just adding some audio, just adding some simple music. So I'm going to go back to my project assets, and I see that I have in my assets, I have a audio file right here, and you can see that I have 3 audio tracks and one right here. Narration and soundtrack are exactly the same as audio 1 or audio 2. They just have labeled it there just to help you out a little bit if you need to put narration in a certain section, but it's the same exact timeline. Has the same features as any other audio feature. So I'm going to take my music file down here and I'm going to lay it in the audio 1 track. So you can see that we can see all the waves. I have it twirled open so you can see the actual waves. The yellow line right here indicates volume. So we can look at the end of our movie, if we decided that our movie was completed and this was the end of the movie, we don't want the music to go on forever, so we need to edit that. I'm going to cut it, and you can see that right here there's a little scissors. So I'm going to clip it right there, and I'm going to take this part and right click and delete it. So now my music is stopping. However, we don't want our music to just abruptly end. So we're going to talk a little bit about keyframing now. And keyframing is a good skill to start teaching junior high as well, because again, working with as little coding as I know that their keyframes come in with a lot of the different higher level Flash and everything else that uses keyframes. So I'm going to start talking with them about what a keyframe means at this point. But we add the keyframes, we have to select the audio track, and then the keyframes are added right here. So if I click right there, I have a little dot right where my indicator is, my CTI. So if I move this over a little bit more and I place another dot right there, now I have 2 keyframes. So I can pull this one down, and then that essentially will fade out the music all the way. So I'm going to turn my music up a little bit. It fades out to nothing. It makes it a little bit more professional. Now you can also fade music in using the opposite. So you would start this one down low and that one up high and put another music track below. You can do that, and that's the way kids like that because they hear the DJs on the radio and do that, so they always like to learn that. These move, however, you can move these around. It doesn't matter. And if you're doing like let's say you had a movie where you had talking, like perhaps right about in here, maybe there was something that someone was saying that you wanted to hear, then what you would do is you would add a keyframe, move over slightly, add another keyframe, and then maybe right when it was about time for the music to come back up, then you can hold this section right here down. I hope you can see that. So what happens is the music plays and then it dies down when there might be some sound above it that you need to hear, and then it comes back up. So it sounds like this. Goes to nothing, then you'd be able to hear whatever sound was on. I've removed the sound so we can't hear it, but then it comes back in. Okay, that's how that works. Okay, let's talk a little bit about some simple editing on the video clips. If you're over here and you've got a group of kids, I'm going to move this out of here. I'm just going to actually remove it. I'm going to delete it, right click and delete it. If you've got a group, a picture, and you want some of it removed, what you're going to do is move your CTI exactly where you want to cut it, and then you're going to do some editing or some cutting of the video. If you want to move around real precisely, you can come up to here, and this just brings you like a tiny little step. And I don't know that it's actually a keyframe, but I'm not sure that that's correct to say it's a keyframe, but it moves it just ever so slightly. So that's one way to get really, really precise. These buttons here, they move it to the next editing point. So if I was to go here, I'm going to go to the next editing point and back the other way. Okay, so moving again to about what, I just want to see the kids, not the teacher. So if I wanted to start right there, then I'm going to clip my, of course I have to select it, has to be brighter colored. Then I clip it here, and then on this side I'm going to right click and I'm going to delete and close the gap. And let me do it again. Okay, there we go. So, oh, actually I did it twice, Control Z. It went so fast I didn't see that it worked. Okay, so right here we've got the kids starting without the teacher, okay? So that's how you would edit, take a little bit clip out, okay? Now let's talk a little bit about freeze frame. This is Peyton, and she was a good sport about letting me use her clips, darling girl. But let me talk a little bit about how to do a freeze frame. So right there, that's a really cute little picture of her. And if I want to have a freeze frame to use it as just as a frozen shot, then I can go up to Tools, and right there it says freeze frame. So I can click on that, and then it asks, do I want the picture to be in the movie or do I want to export it? We want to have it be in the movie, so I'm going to click right here, and it creates right there the picture of Peyton. I'm going to move that out of there just so you can look at it. Anytime you end up with a gap in your timeline, you're going to right click and delete and close the gap. Okay, so here's the picture of her, and of course this right here is a 5-second, because that is the default setting for a still picture to come into the project. You can change that in the preference section. If you had a big project and you had lots of still pictures, you wanted them to only be 3 seconds, you can change the default setting so they all come in at 3 seconds and not at 5 seconds, but 5 seconds is the default. So that's how you get a still picture, and of course you could put that in anywhere in the movie or export it or do other things with it. That's how you do a freeze frame, and we're doing pretty good on time. I'm not sure, I have a different time on my computer and a different time on my school clock and a different time on my phone, so I'm kind of time challenged here, but I think it's about 8:25. I think it is. So I'm going to keep going just a little bit. I know Pip said that she would just abruptly come in and kick me out of the room at the right time, so that's good because I have kids waiting for me in another teacher's class. My first period class is waiting for me. So let me just talk a little bit about going fast motion and slow motion. So let's go back to these little cute little kindergarten kids here. And let's talk about how we can make them go backwards and slow motion. So in the first section of the clip, they're going forward. I've already cut this clip. I did that accidentally, but I kind of need to clip it right there anyway. And I'm going to clip it right here. And I need to have the video clip in sections so that I can apply a different action to each section. So if I want my kids to go forward here and then backwards in this section, I'm going to select that section there. To go backwards, it's simply click on it, right click on it, and go into what's called time stretch. And in time stretch, there's a reverse speed. So I can click reverse, click OK, and then when I test it, I can see that they're going forward, and now they're going backwards. And they're skipping backwards. Now they're going forwards again. Okay? So what if we wanted these backward kids to go faster? What I would do is I would have to change the time. So again, right-click, go into time stretch, and instead of being, I need to lower the duration to make it a shorter time. So again, I'm going to click my left mouse button down. I'm going to rub on the screen. I'm going down to like 1 second or so, clicking OK. And you'll see too that the actual frame got smaller because it's shorter in time duration. So I'm going to go ahead and show that. So now they should go faster. Now because this isn't rendered, it's not as smooth as it could be. And what does rendering mean? Rendering means going through and smoothing out or applying a whole lot of codecs and things that I don't understand to the timeline so that it's smoother. So if we had done that over here, clicking render, that's how we would get it to work smoother when we're in the timeline. Now, how would I make this section go slower? I would just do the opposite. Right-click, go to time stretch, and now I'm going to add time to it. Click OK. And now we've got a bigger clip here, so when we show it, this one is slower. And I think that's going to be probably about time. So I'm going to go ahead and stop right here and see if there's anything in the chat.
Sarah, there's a question, actually 2 questions. The first one, Rochelle wants to know, can you adjust the time duration for the title slide? And then Melissa wants to know, what does CTI stand for?
It stands for Current Time Indicator, and that's what this red bar is.
Excellent.
That's also called a scrub bar. People call it scrubbing to go back and forth like this. And yes, on the title slide, for example, right here, I could make it longer. I would just stretch it out.
So you just click and drag it out. Okay, fantastic. Sorry, Sarah. Sorry, thank you very much, Sarah. That's absolutely wonderful, and I'm very conscious that you have a class waiting for you. So what we will quickly do is, if everybody could please give us a little bit of feedback for this session so we're able to follow through. The recording for this session will be available in 2 places. Either you can get the session recording from the Adobe Education Exchange, or you can get it from the website that you used. Whoops, that was the wrong one just then. We'll try again. You can get it from the Education Exchange, or you can get it from the website that you used to register for the session today. And we will send out an email too with the links. It's also available on YouTube, as are all the other videos for the sessions that we've done today. Sarah, thank you so much for showing us how easy it is to use Premiere Elements. It's so wonderful. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day, everyone.
Yeah, we'll see you this afternoon at 3 p.m. for an awesome movie effects.
Yeah, the extra special effects will be really fun. You'll like that part.
Thank you so much. Don't forget, if your school is a ConnectEd school, you can find out more information about seeing if your school is eligible for funding, and find out information on that website through the ConnectEd portal, which I'm just putting the link for now. So have a great day, everyone, and we will see you this afternoon. See you later, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sarah. I know you have to go, so I'll let you go, and I'll see you this afternoon.
It's kind of hard to just keep talking and not get feedback, you know.
It's really hard, isn't it? It's one of the toughest things to
After a
do.
while, like you're talking to nothing, you know.
It was absolutely perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, and I'll see you later this afternoon.
You will. Thank you. Bye, Sarah. Have a good day.
You do. Bye-bye.